Okay, this is a little flight showing a flight from Dundee to Edinburgh, one touch and go to Edinburgh, and back to Dundee. I'm online with vatsim. You can see it. I'm online with vatsim, with the vatsim controllers, but it never picked my mic up when I was recording it. You can hear the communications between ATC once I'm flying along towards Edinburgh, but you won't hear me communicating with the controller because the mic wasn't switched on under the NVIDIA settings. But here's the clip anyhow. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to switch the battery on. I've put the map down to the middle of the seat, making sure the fuel's on. The fuel is on, yep, there's my little cursor. Putting the battery on. And the alternator switch. And I'm parked at Dundee Tayside, front of the hangar there, and the buildings, office buildings on the right hand side. There's a ground crew chappie just to on the front and left hand side, but there is a glitch that with the new Microsoft 2020 that when he tries to hook up, he doesn't push the aircraft back. So what I do is I end up just turning to the left. Right, so I'm just checking all my switches are on. Clear prop. There we go. And there's the engine started. Just looking for the T's and P's coming up. Try to get the view from the left hand eye. It shows with the binocular view the left and the right eye in the flight sim in VR, so basically I'm just recording from the left eye what I'm seeing inside the helmet onto the monitor. Yeah, so that's the guy coming over to push back. I'm basically just coming out of VR just to check that there's a controller on. There's one on at bird control that covers Scotland apparently, so I'll try and tune into him, but there's no answer. But further on I'll get the Edinburgh controller. So I'll just place the map down on the left hand seat, and then just started. There's a button assigned for the guy to come over and push me back, but it's not lined up with the nose, so I'll just push the button again and cancel that and just turn to the left. There's another way of getting pushed back. So I'm putting in the frequency for bird control. When I come back to Dundee, there's a controller on. He moves from Edinburgh to Dundee, so I'll get the communications. But as I says, it's not picking up the microphone, recording the microphone for my communications. Hence the running commentary at the moment. So This is the guy coming over. I've pushed the button. Normally, if you're on a slot at the airport, he would come over and go right bang in the middle of the nose and push you back, but it's very slightly off to the right, so I've cancelled it. So then I would go Dundee Tower, Golf in the Delta for Yankee. Then come back and say pass your message. I would just say Golf in the Delta for Yankee, Cessna 152 at Tayside, requesting radio check and info for departure. And then come back to the bits and pieces. So that's me going round to the left now. There we go. You wouldn't do that in real life, but pushback cruise. Go out there, left, clear right. Just come up, but we go over past Alpha and we do the power checks. Then go from the Delta for Yankee, taxiing past Alpha for power checks. And then we'll just taxi up here. Excuse me. So I would just pop round to the right, just past this junction, do the mag drop checks, bits and pieces on the checklist for real, but today I'm just going to go up here and just up to the holding point. So I'm going for the Delta for Yankee, holding at Alpha for 27. And then I would say go for the Delta for Yankee, taxiing and lining up for 27 for departure. And there we are. Excuse me. And then I go on the runway. And line up 27. A nice sunset. Right in the middle of the runway. And I would say vital checks. There's the Loganair hangar over on the right hand side, the blue one. Tayside Aviation over on the right. Full and free range of movement, that's okay. And Golf India Delta Alpha Yankee rolling. There we go, heels on the floor. And away we go. Keep on the centre line. Looking for the airspeed becoming active. T's and P's are again after charging. Everything's looking good. And once it's active, once it's 50 knots, then I'll start to rotate. And that's the nose coming up. Climbing for 70 knots. Clear my throat there. Climbing for 70 knots, above 200 feet. Gear is fixed, flaps are up. And once we get to 500, then we take a left turn and head for Kirkcaldy. And there's our left turn going there, heading, tracking for Kirkcaldy. Tay, there's Dundee, just at the back on the left hand side, that we're taking off. A nice sunset over there. So, we'll level off and there we go, we're levelling off, so it'll be bring back the power. Set the attitude and trim. There we are, level flight, straight and level flight. There's Wormit just over there on the left hand side. So I'd be looking at I'll do a Frida check. Once everything's straight and level, so it'll be fuel is on, and sufficient. Radio is tuned, 122.8, which is Unicom channel. Engine, carpet on. T's and P's are in the green, that's a charging. 10 seconds and put the carpet back in. And the RPM climb goes up. And put the carpet back in. And the DI set with the compass. Is good there, and the altimeter is set for the correct QNH. And there we are, en route to Kirkcaldy. I'm just tweaking the DI there. And there's the map. I can zoom in and out with my fingers on the little pad that I've got strapped to my right leg. Fantastic VFR map in VR. With the headset on. So basically I'm recording from the left eye. This is what's inside the headset. It's super smooth inside the headset, there's no jerkiness at all. It's the HP Reverb Pro that I'm using. And we're using the default Cessna 152 in Microsoft 2020. In view. We don't see the monitor. There we go, that's not bad there. So we're tracking towards Kirkcaldy. Once we get to Kirkcaldy, then I would see, you would hear all the communications if the microphone was recording this, but because of the settings in the NVIDIA, it was switched off. That's why I'm doing a running commentary now as I'm recording. So what are we at, 2,500 feet? Yeah, about 2,500 feet. And everything looks good. You'll hear the controller for Edinburgh once I get to Kirkcaldy. He wasn't online when I left Dundee, but as I'm flying along I can hear a little ping in the headset, which tells me that the vatsim controller has just came online. And I'll look to see what frequency he's on. He was on 118.7, so I'll feed in 118.7 into the Cessna radio, part1, and I'll be able to speak to him. And he'll speak back. So we are approaching Kirkcaldy. Well, you can see the River Forth coming up now, just on the nose. We've got Leven, which is the first town that appears on the nose. And Kirkcaldy is just a little jink to the right. Clear my throat. Right, there we go. So we've got Cooper. That's where I stay, and that's where I'm recording this from. Flying over my house at the moment, over Cooper. Down there on the left hand side you see Bell Baxter High School that my grandsons go to. All the scenery between Dundee and Edinburgh was all manually cached, which means it's scenery that's been manually generated of an area of my choice in ms2020. So easy to do, it only takes a couple of minutes. You pick an area and you sort of scroll tiles over the There we go, I'm coming out of VR to see if the controller's online. So what I'm doing, I'm looking for, yeah. So
Edinburgh traffic is 235 whiskey inbound way 24 miles.
So that's a guy over at Edinburgh who's online. So further up here we'll hear a little ping and the ATC, the controller for Edinburgh, will come on. And that's when I tune in 118.7 and I can speak to him. You won't hear me speaking to him because of the microphone problem, but you'll hear him talking to me, and I'll try and relay back what I say. The next time I record some footage, I'll make sure that in the NVIDIA settings it automatically goes to disable the mic for some reason, which is annoying. I'll make sure the microphone's switched on. So we're coming up for the coast, leaving first. Here we go, coming up for leaving. Heading south from Dundee. You should hear the communications from Edinburgh in a couple of minutes. I'm just doing a Frida check there again, looking at the compass to the DI. Looks good.
Edinburgh traffic is 235 whiskey, established runway 24.
So that's the guy fully established, we're runway 24 at Edinburgh. And I was telling him when I was recording that I was overhead leaving. I would just be saying golf in the Delta Alpha Yankee Cessna 152 at 3,500 feet. En route to leaving Kirkcaldy, in the bridges, and one touch and go Edinburgh, and back via Kelty to Dundee. Just basically telling the traffic, just like a blind call. But for real, I would inform Edinburgh to get permission to penetrate the zone 5 miles before there, just to make sure. I would just say golf in the Delta Alpha Yankee Cessna 152, overhead leaving 2,500 feet, requires zone penetration for one touch and go Edinburgh. So I'm flying along here, and over there's Loch Leven. Coming up to the coast, heading towards Kirkcaldy, that's leaving down there. Leven for the chaps that don't know the area. It's leaving just on the coast. There we go, there's the realistic scenery, superb. And here we go. All the buildings are 3D. When you get ms2020, there's places they call it places of points of interest. Basically, not all areas in the UK are covered with highly detailed scenery. London is, other bits and pieces, but what you have to do is manually cache the scenery. My internet speed isn't very good at the moment, so to do it that way, to get the data, to get the scenery. Oh, yeah, we're looking outside the wheel, looking at the wheel outside the window. Yeah, as I says, my data, my broadband megabits per second isn't really fast. I've changed my plan to about, I think it's 20 is going at the moment, but I think ideally it should be about 50, but because we stay in Cooper, there's no good broadband connections from the exchange to the house, so like fibre, there's no fibre at the moment that we can get, so we are past leaving and we're on our way to Kirkcaldy, and I'll be changing frequency to Edinburgh in a little jiffy. Just watch for the frequency change. And zoom in, you can see the 25 past 5. Soon be tea time. Right. So we're coming up to Kirkcaldy. On the north side of the Forth. I'm bringing back the power because my height's a little bit, I'm just a little bit too high there. I should be about 1,500 feet. Coming up the zone. There's Kirkcaldy. You can see it's all highly built up. I'll try and zoom in so you can see the buildings. I'll come back in a minute. I should pick up the buildings pretty good. You can see all the buildings are 3D. Kirkcaldy Harbour down there. I've got my head stuck out the window. You can open the window in the default Cessna, but with the window catch. But I've never tried it, just in case I can't get the thing closed again. So I'm just levelling off there. About 2,000 feet. And we should hear the controller coming on for Edinburgh any moment now. You can zoom in, you can see the buildings. Zoom right in there. There's a little marina down there, I can zoom in that one. Oh, come back again. There we go, zoom right in. You see the boats, some sailing boats down there. Come back again, there we go. Let's try and get this in view. So I would just say golf into Delta for Yankee at Kirkcaldy, 2,000 feet en route to the bridges, and then Edinburgh for one touch and go. You can see the buildings. That's the Esplanade at Kirkcaldy, the road all the way along the bottom. And there's a swimming pool right at the end of this road. There we go, there's the beep. So I've got a controller on now. So I would come out of VR and look to see what frequency he's on. So that's me coming out of VR to the desktop, having a look to see what frequency he's on. And I'm looking for 118.7, there he is, Edinburgh EGPH tower, 118.7. Push the button, back into VR, and then I would change the frequency on the radio, and get the map down again. There we go, we'll place the map in the middle of the seat there, over the radio, and dial in 118.7. There we go. And I would say Golf India Delta Alpha Yankee.
Golf India Delta Alpha Yankee, Edinburgh Tower, good afternoon, pass your message.
Golf India Delta Alpha Yankee, Cessna 152. at Kirkcaldy en route to the bridges and Edinburgh for one touch and go. Request zone penetration.
Golf Alpha Yankee, Edinburgh Tower. Good afternoon, sir. You're cleared to enter the Edinburgh control zone via the 4th Road Bridge BRP, not above altitude 1,500 feet, VFR, the QNH 9903 hectopascals.
QNH 99 hectopascals, not above 1,500 feet, and enter the zone at the bridges. Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee.
Golf Alpha Yankee, correct, and you can squawk 7036.
Squawk 7036, Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee. That's me changing now.
Golf Alpha Yankee, correct, thank you very much, and report overhead the 4th Road Bridge. I'll give you further from that.
Report overhead the 4th Road Bridge, Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee. That's me changing the frequency. Is it 7036? There we go, I'll zoom in here, you can see this. 703245, there we go. So I'm tracking along the coast, north side of the 4th. I'm just setting my 903, I think it says here, hectopascals. There we go, I'm just checking that. Putting the correct QNH in. So I'm heading along the coast towards the bridges, and then you'll hear all the communications with the controller. And later on the guy goes, yeah, well, he asks, he says, look, because there's no controller at Dundee when you're going back, would you like me to operate Dundee? And I said, yeah, no problem, that's good. So we're going along towards the bridges, and we're at 1,500 feet. Zoom in here, 1,450. Like that. There we go. Tracking along and do a feeder check again. Fuel is on and sufficient. Radio is set to Edinburgh approach. Engine will be car P on. T's and P's are in the green, absolute charging. Wait a few more seconds, put the car peak back in. And the compass to the DI, I would set that, and the correct QNH was 903 hectopascals. There we go. Nice scenery down there, I can zoom in a bit if you can see that. There we go. Zoom back again. Try and get in the picture. Now we're heading towards the bridges. There's like a fuel storage dump down there on the left hand side. Over there, sweeping past on the right. Wanted a drink of water. Clear my throat. Right, okay. Coming up for the bridges ahead. And our heights was at 1,300 feet. And we've been told that we can't go above 1,500. So I'll get closer to the bridges, then I'll inform you.
Sky 744, stand 5, push and start approved, face northeast.
So I'll get closer to the bridges and then I'll report at the bridges and intentions.
Oh, apologies sir, yeah no, that's my mistake, I read the wrong number.
So I think I'll be Inverkeithing down there, and just zoom in that, you can see the detail. Fantastic. Come back in there. Zoom in again. Right, back again. cockpit again, out the flight, head out the window, should I say. And I'm heading towards the bridges. Just about there. I would track the right hand side of the bridges, right hand side of a feature, whether it be a railway track, a bridge, a river, a road.
Edinburgh Tower, Speedbird 162, on approach runway 24, I have information, Charlie.
Speedbird 162, Edinburgh Tower, good afternoon. Continue approach runway 2, in fact clear to land, runway 24, surface winds 240 degrees at 8 knots.
Clear to land, runway 24, Speedbird 162.
So there's our bridges coming up on the left hand side of the nose. So, sorry, North Queen's Ferry, a little quarry down there, you can see that one? So we're on the north.
Golf Alpha Yankee, do you have the field in sight?
Copy, don't have the airfield in sight. Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee.
Golf Alpha Yankee, roger, join and report a right downwind for runway 24.
Join and report right hand wind. Downwind.
Number 162, traffic information is a Cessna 152, approximately 3 miles to the north of the field, report in sight.
There we go, over the bridges, right hand side of the road bridge. There's Rosyth over there.
Traffic sight, Speedbird 162.
Golf Alpha Yankee, same for you, traffic information is a British Airways A320 on a 3-mile final for runway 24, report in sight.
British Airways on a 3-mile final for runway 24, I'll report when in sight, thanks, Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee. So we're heading for the tower. We're on the right hand side of the road bridge. Head out the window, get a wee bit of scenery. There's South Queen's Ferry, the marina, and the boating clubs, what have you. Coming up over South Queen's Ferry on the nose. There's a motorway down there, we zoom in, you can have a look. The traffic's set about 100% for the cars and bits and pieces, but looks really, really realistic. So we're just tracking towards the downwind leg for runway 24 at Edinburgh. And my height is about 1,100 feet. Okay, so I'm on the downwind leg. I'll be tracking 06, opposite of 24.
Golf Alpha Yankee, roger. Behind that traffic, report final runway 24, number 2. Caution weight turbulence, recommended separation is 5 nautical miles.
Report final, number 2 for runway 24 and separation 5 nautical miles, thanks, Golf in the Delta Alpha Yankee. So I put the car P on, T's and P's are in the green after charging, fuel sufficient. Harness is tight, doors are closed, no loose articles. Golf in the Delta Alpha Yankee, downwind for touch and go. So we're going, the car being back in, we're going to the end of the downwind leg and we're at 1,000, what's that? There's our airport over there on the right hand side, parallel with the runway now. There's an aircraft, British Airways, coming in for runway 24 and we'll see him in a little jiffy.
Sky 744, you can taxi to runway Delta 1 for runway 24 via Foxtrot and Alpha.
So we've got the RPM back to 1800 RPM, car P on, needle in white, inside the white arc, we've got 2 stages of flap. We're commencing the turn for the base leg.
Speedbird 162, clear of runway.
And we're looking at 65 knots.
Speedbird 162, welcome to Edinburgh. Where would you like to park?
I'm unfamiliar with the airfield, happy to use your discretion. Speedbird 162.
Speedbird 162, roger. Taxi Alpha Echo and stand of your choice.
That's Alpha Echo, stand of my choice, Speedbird 162.
So we're coming on the base leg, looking for 500 feet at the end of the base leg, but we're a little high, so we're looking for about 500 mil coming down, and there's about tracking on the base is Edinburgh, and we'll take a right turn and line up for
Golf Alpha Yankee, will it be one touch and go, or would you like more than one?
one touch and go, please, thanks. Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee.
Golf Alpha Yankee, roger, and after that you'd like to leave to the north, is that correct?
Copied, I'll be leaving via Kelty, VRP and...
Golf Alpha Yankee, roger, no worries. After departure, turn right and route north, not above altitude 1,500 feet.
After departure, route north, not above 1,500 feet. Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee. See, I'm doing the running comment.
Golf Alpha Yankee, correct, and runway 24, clear to land, the surface wind 240 degrees, 8 knots.
Clear to land, Golf into Delta Alpha Yankee, so it'll be car peak cold, runway is clear, approach is good. Prop RPM max if it was a variable pitch prop, and permission to land.
SkyWest 744 behind the landing, Cessna 152 via Delta 1, line up for runway 24 behind.
So what we're doing is we're coming down. Yeah, I'm doing the running commentary over the previous recording earlier, about an hour ago. But as I says,
SkyWest 44, you can switch to Edinburgh Tower now. Stand by, I'll get the frequency.
as I says, it never picked up my microphone with the headset, with the VR headset on.
SkyWest 744, that's Edinburgh Tower 118.7. I'll see you there.
So I'm just doing the live commentary now. So we're coming down for runway 24. We're looking at the numbers, looking at the airspeed, 65 knots. We can make the runway, so extra stage of flap. And if you look closely, there's an aircraft waiting on the left hand side to line up for departure.
Understood, good afternoon, Skyway 744.
I'll zoom in so you can see it.
Approaching Delta 1
he is, on
and
the
lining
left-hand
up
side.
after the landing Cessna.
SkyWest
There
744,
he is.
Edinburgh Tower, hello,
Over to
roger.
the left. There he is. Over to the left. I'll zoom in. You can see it all. Come back in. Nice, nice paint
Super
job.
162, contact Edinburgh ground on, stand by. Don't know any of the frequencies around here.
Okay, height of a double decker
121.75,
bus, and we'll come
see you
back
later,
with
bye.
power. Keep a little bit of power on.
1.75.
Looking at the end of the runway.
Thank you.
A little flare, nose up, a wee flare. Keeping it straight with the rudder. And there we are, main wheels, and the nose. Okay, keeping straight in the centre line. Full power, flaps up. Can't be cold, make sure it's cold, which it is. There's 50 knots and rotate. Golf in the Delta for Yankee Airborne.
Golf Alpha Yankee, roger.
So now I'll be tracking towards the bridges. Above 200 feet, gear is fixed, flaps are up. And at 500 feet, clear from left to right. And commence a turn, no more than 20 degrees in the climbing turn, and climbing for 70 knots. So we're heading for the bridges now, not above 1,500 feet, and we're heading for Kelty, so that's just north.
And Golf Alpha Yankee, you're cleared to leave the Edinburgh control zone by the Kelty VRP, not above altitude 1,500 feet. You can retain your squawk.
Retain the same squawk frequency, not above 1,500 feet, and leave the zone at Kelty. Thanks, Golf in the Delta Alpha Yankee. There we go.
Golf Alpha Yankee, correct.
And we're heading for the bridges. And then it'll be Kelty, then Cooper, and then back to Dundee. Looking at the map there. So we're coming up for, was it 1,200? There's the bridges coming up. And bring back the power, attitude and trim. And I'll track up the motorway, looking at the motorway, heading north.